Hello, sir.
Oh, hi.
So, may I have a chat with you? Do you have some time to spare?
You're most welcome, but then you have to take a seat and then I'll accord you all the knowledge that you want.
Sure, sir. I've been wanting to know about algorithms and how India is connected to the story. So, could you please enlighten me?
Oh, that's very interesting. The word algorithm itself has strong connections with India and an Arab mathematician. It dates back to a few hundred years before the time of Jesus Christ. Very few people are aware that India created very deep, profound mathematics, geometry, much before the time of Jesus Christ and also before the Greeks. And the reason why we knew it is because there were practical applications in architecture where mathematics was being used. But more importantly, the Indians had figured out how to establish the theorem. It's one thing to discover the statement of a theorem. It's another to figure out that you can justify it. The Indians had invented a method, a sort of step-by-step process, a kind of prescription or a recipe that would then lead you to the conclusion of the theorem. So, if this is what you start with, then there are two possibilities. You could do this, and if not this, then you do this. If you do this, then this must happen. This will lead to this conclusion. So, this step-by-step process would then finally lead you to the conclusion of the truth. Now, all this mathematics and Sanskrit grammar that India was creating, this was being transmitted across the Arab world to Europe. And in 900 AD, there was an Arab mathematician, a man of knowledge called Al-Khwarizmi. So Al-Khwarizmi, because he was profoundly impacted by what the Indians were doing, he began to transcribe the Indian knowledge, particularly the mathematical knowledge. And he would then transmit it via the trade land routes to Europe. And then the Europeans began to call it the Al-Khwarizmi method, because the method is really the Indian recipe or prescription method, the step-by-step logic method. And Al-Khwarizmi was shortened or distorted into algorithm. So it came to be known as the algorithmic method. So that's how India contributed to the whole thing. It's really Indian and not Al-Khwarizmi. He just transmitted it.
So, could you give me some examples? Like you talked about Panini and Sanskrit grammar. So, who exactly was Panini?
Oh, of course, Panini was before the time of Christ. He was actually a grammarian who is credited with creating this modern Sanskrit grammar. It is one of the world's most perfect grammar. But Panini also used the algorithmic method, this step-by-step thing in Sanskrit grammar. That is why Sanskrit grammar is so mathematical. It's very logical. And the interesting thing is, centuries later, in the 20th century, an American linguist at MIT, Noam Chomsky, invented some profound things in linguistics. He was able to set many of Panini's algorithmic principles in the setting of modern mathematics and thereby create a revolution in linguistics. So you can really trace it back to Panini's work. That was the Indian contribution. So, one of the big things that characterizes Indian knowledge systems is that it was transdisciplinary. Similarly, there was this prosodist, a man in Sanskrit poetry called Pingal, 200 years before Christ, where he was trying to create new meters in Sanskrit poetry, and he was trying to do that by using long and short sounds that were present in existing meters of Sanskrit poetry. And he was trying to permute and combine them in different ways. And in doing that, he created a mathematical device called the Meru Prastar. This is a kind of device which consists of numbers.
Okay.
This was rediscovered in Europe much later by a very well-known European mathematician by the name of Blaise Pascal. But the interesting thing is that Pingal had not only done that, but he had used it to create new meters. So he was applying mathematics for poetry. And here's the other interesting part. So What Pingle did, that was commented on by another commentator in India who was there in India 500 years before Newton. And in commenting on Pingle's work, he uses Pingle's work to discover the binomial theorem. So you can see how the binomial theorem was really discovered in India much before Newton's time. And this was coming through Sanskrit poetry.
Yes.
So you see, the Indian tradition was very strong in its approach of transdisciplinarity.
That's incredible.
Well, that's the story. And I hope that your curiosity about algorithms and their origins has been satisfied to some extent. On the other hand, I hope it whets your appetite and you want to learn some more.
Yes, sir.
Great. It's been nice having you here. You should come more often.
True, sir. I had a great time chatting with you and I learned so much. There's so many things you don't often hear about, especially about India's contribution to significant discoveries and especially the algorithmic thinking that we have had since centuries.
Yeah, true. I agree with you, but we should not rest on our laurels, but just use this to inspire ourselves to do other things.
Yes, definitely.